All right, guys, welcome back to the 85. I'm your host, Cole Kmet. We're back for week 2, and we're going to keep going this, keep chugging along here. Adam, how we doing?
We're good, Cole. Yesterday was fun as we record this on Sunday. Preseason game at Soldier Field. More Caleb Williams highlights. I know we're going to get into all that, but it must have been an exciting day. And, of course, as always, the 85, powered by Ankin Law, injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit Ankin Law to learn more. Cole, we got to hit on the joint practices, too, at some point, but I don't know how we don't start with the here and now with what was going on yesterday. I'm assuming that's the direction you want to go in to start here.
Yeah, well, we can start with the game. Obviously, it was we had some highlights there from Caleb, which was cool to see, and cool that he was able to show that at home in front of the fans for the first time. So, I thought it was a good first home opener for him, and for the squad, it was good. A little bit of a slow start there for us, but we got things going, and I obviously saw the highlight plays. The spin out throw to Rome down the sideline was really cool. The rollout where Rome accidentally a little misstep there, but that was still a sweet throw by Caleb, and then obviously the scramble to finish there at the end was a really cool highlight. So, all in all, I think we're still trending in the right direction. Caleb's making some highlight plays, and I like where we're at.
I think we better also thank all the listeners and fans for the love and support for the first episode too. The YouTube channel taking off, and a lot of people watching. That was awesome to see. I don't know if you noticed, Cole,
that was super cool. That was super cool. I mean, unbelievable. Obviously this is something that we kind of just put together here, and we're excited about doing, but to be able to see the reaction from it was really awesome, and just kind of makes me want to deliver good content all season long. So excited for what's to come about it, but definitely a good first premiere for the 85 there.
So I don't know if you'll be as competitive as you probably are, compared to how you are on the football field. But I don't know if you saw on those podcast charts, the 85 with Cole Kmet, it was like right behind the Kelsey brothers.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Saying for the first episode.
Hey, and you know what? That's just a testament though to the fans here in Chicago as well. Just how passionate they are about their football, and obviously you understand that being around this for so long, and me growing up here, I've seen it my whole life. So it's a passionate fan base, and, they're starving for a winner here, and there's obviously a lot of excitement about the team. So, we got a lot to attribute to that as well.
All right. So I got to ask you about the start of the game yesterday. What do you attribute to kind of that slow start? The first 3 series were all 3 and outs. And then I'm also curious because, Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus kind of made it clear that there was sort of a decision made there on the sideline to put the starters back out there, that maybe Caleb, the original plan wasn't for Caleb to go out there for another series, but based on how the game was going, they made that decision. Obviously it paid off.
Yeah. I guess I'll start with that. I mean, the original plan, I think, was to go about 3 series with Caleb. We wanted to get good work in there and then be able to get off. So just another series longer than what we did in Buffalo. Obviously with the 3 and outs to start, that's not what we wanted, but I thought that was actually a good thing to happen. And I know, you want everything to look perfect all the time, but I thought it was a positive just to be able to kind of fight through that a little bit and have Caleb experience that and, be on the field, get off the field quickly, and then do that a couple more times. And, obviously you don't want to ever have a situation where you're going 3 and out to start a game, but just a good thing to kind of persevere through and kind of work through. So I thought that was good. But in terms of the first 3 series, quite frankly, I mean, with the first play to Keenan, and I think it was just a miss between those 2 guys, and something they'll get ironed out. I don't think anything too big to worry about, but you got to give them credit too. I thought they defended some of the stuff that we had up pretty well, and I just want to remind everybody again, like, this is really vanilla stuff that we're doing right now, and it's still training camp type of deal. So we're not in full game plan mode per se. So we just kind of want to go out there, execute the offense correctly, and to Caleb's credit, I thought he did that for the most part. It just that sometimes, things are there, things aren't. And look, these guys get paid too. So they know what they're doing out there, and they did a good job defending some of the things. But like I said earlier, it was cool to see Caleb take over there towards the end of the first half and make some really cool throws to Rome. And, obviously cool to get Rome involved as well with first with the sweep around the edge and then the catch down the sideline and then the almost 2B touchdown there.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. So because that was probably, I thought, the best play that Caleb made the whole day. And there were a few. And then obviously Rome's feet were just barely out of the back of the end zone. And I know I think you want to defend him a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm going to defend, because right when that happened, I said, oh, he thought the other white line was the back of the end zone. And he probably got that mixed up. Where I had a similar thing happen my rookie year, and now nothing happened where I got the ball thrown to me, but or it might have been even my second year. And I remember running around in the end zone, and you like lose when you're running that fast and you're just playing as fast as you can. You kind of lose track, and you're trying to periffin where the lines on the field are. And there's that secondary line behind it, and I don't really know what it's for, but I think he might have been tripped up with that. So if that's my defense for Rome there, it's a rookie mistake, and it happened, but it was good that it happened in a preseason game and something we can learn from. But also, I mean, can we get it painted a different color?
Well, usually it's painted, the whole thing's painted white between those two lines.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And I know they were obviously having some issues with the field, getting it ready with the concerts that were going on.
Yeah, they just had Metallica out there. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was like they ran out of time and just couldn't paint the back of the end zone.
Right.
But I do have to say, Cole, like, that's exactly how they're painted on your practice fields.
Yeah, and it's tough on the practice field. No, that's a fair argument back to it. That's a fair argument back to it for sure. I think, you're in the game setting, you're at Soldier for the first time, you may lose a little bit of track of where you're at, and definitely not something he's probably seen back in college. So, yeah, look, that's just my defense for him. It's a good thing it's a preseason game. I'm sure he won't ever let that happen again, and he'll be a little bit more aware next time he runs to the corner like that. Well,
and also I think because it's preseason, we could still, kind of mark it down as a plus play for Caleb Williams and a touchdown throw.
Yeah. Well, and plus, if that play happened, if that was a touchdown, you wouldn't have seen the next play.
Yeah. Which was the scramble touchdown.
Yeah, which was a sweet play too. So you kind of got a 2-for-1 there, I thought.
I'm still amazed at, I know you're not an offensive lineman, so you don't have to worry about, going too far downfield, but I still don't quite understand how Tevin Jenkins knew when to hang back, if Caleb was going to throw that ball, and when to just go forward, that he was going to run, because he had his back to him. So I don't know if they're like somehow communicating there, but I was just really impressed with them being on the same page in that moment, because that's not as easy as it looked.
See, I wasn't looking out for that on film. So he took off right when Caleb took off, Tevin took off as well.
Yes, because you could see he's like kind of hanging at the line of scrimmage because he doesn't want to go downfield in case Caleb throws it, because then it's a penalty.
Right.
And then, I think he kind of said post game that he sort of was able to take a peek back. Mm-hmm. And I think he saw maybe Caleb put the ball in his, I'm not really sure, but I was impressed with that, because that's not an easy thing to do in that situation.
No, that's not. I give credit to Tevin there for doing that. That's pretty impressive. I mean, obviously playing with Justin the past few years, we're used to, guys being able to get out of the pocket, and Caleb's able to do that as well. But yeah, that's really good awareness there by Tevin to be able to do that. And, it's things those are the things that we're going to have to continue to get used to, as we play with Caleb here, because I mean, Caleb's always looking to throw it still. I mean, even on that scramble, he was looking to throw that thing to the last second. And I mean, guys were shouting on the sideline, run, run, run. And he's still looking to throw the thing. So, you got to respect him that he wants to throw it in for the touchdown. But it was cool to see him take off there and get the 7-yard gain after running around for probably about 80 yards to get in the end zone.
And then the one play we haven't talked about yet was the insane throw deep downfield that Rome caught. I think it was for 45 yards. The coolest part for me on that was hearing later that they actually weren't on the same page to start that play. Did you hear about that?
No. So I was getting checked out there with my shoulder once I came off the field for a second. So I heard the crowd erupt with it, and obviously I watched it on tape. But no, I didn't hear that they weren't on the same page.
Yeah. So essentially, because I think it was a safety who came down to cover Rome in the slot, had outside leverage. So Caleb wanted him to take it over the top of the defender, and instead he cut in on that corner route. He cut inside him, which basically covered him up.
Right.
So if you watch Caleb's, especially the end zone angle, you could see like he's on him, like he wanted to throw that corner, but because Rome didn't take it high and instead went low, he came off it. So that's why he came off it in the first place. And then he just somehow does that little spin. And to Rome's credit, the second, and you could see it on film, the second he sees Caleb spin out, he went down the sideline on the scramble drill, and then Caleb just hit him. It was great.
Yeah, that was a great point. I mean, I saw the replays on television. I was watching some of the preseason games last night, and his ability to spin out like that and then throw a perfect spiral up and down in the breadbasket it's really impressive. So, hopefully we see just a lot of these this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think the fans are certainly excited about it right now.
Good.
I have to ask you about one thing about your defense too, because Kyler Gordon, like he hasn't even really been practicing. He came back this week and like instantly it seemed like he was noticeable on the practice field, and then he was just all over the field.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So what I wanted to ask you, like when he comes back to practice this week, this past week, how quickly do you feel that on the offense? Because you're going up against the ones, like his presence, because he just seems to play the game like with his hair on fire all the time.
Yeah, no, you feel that. I mean, when that group, especially in the back end, is at 100% and all those guys are together, whether it's, Kyler, Jaquan, KB, Tyreek, Jalen, like you get all those guys clicking together as one. It's a fast physical group. So, adding Kyler back was big time. And I think he plays the ball really well and does a good job of punching out when guys are trying to bring the ball down. And then obviously the blitz off the edge. I mean, that was a big hit, man. That was a big hit.
Oh,
yeah. I wish he would have stripped it, but like that was a big hit. That was still a sweet hit. I felt like he could have like came in and punched it. I mean, I'm not a defensive guy, you know what I mean? But that was a sweet hit. And, he's not the biggest guy by any means, but he can definitely lay the wood when needed. So, you definitely feel those guys though when they're all back together, when they're 100% healthy and clicking. So it's a good group there on the back end, and it definitely challenges us in practice day to day.
It was funny because there were some fans that were like, "Oh, you could have gotten that ball out. He didn't have to hit him as hard. He could have gone for the ball." And
yeah, that's the greedy take, but I still like the physicality is awesome.
Yeah, but your defensive coaches are greedy too. They want that ball out. So my guess is they probably said that to him.
Flus definitely did. Yeah, Flus definitely did. He wants that ball. Flus wants the ball.
Yeah, of course. So I saw it was also on the TV when they almost downed the punt at the one, but I think Velas just barely went in the end zone.
Oh yeah.
That guy in the Bengals actually made a really subtle, nice play to block him at the last second, which kind of pushed Velas into the end zone. Now the coaching point's probably to just tap it to a teammate, but I noticed Flus right away, like was coaching Velas up on that too.
Yeah.
Like
I know you as a special teamers like love that shit. You love it.
Yeah. Hey, especially with Torrey Taylor on this team now, you gotta have to down those punts inside the 5.
That's a weapon, man. You get a team that has to drive it, 95, 90 yards instead of 80 or 75 yards. Like that's a big deal. That's just another first down and a half that a team's got to get in order to score. So definitely a weapon and definitely a thing that we got to take advantage of when we get punts like that.
Well, and what I always tell our kids is like, I know everybody wants to down the ball at the 1. It looks really cool, but I'd rather have it at the 4 than at the 20. So
absolutely,
if you have to tap it back a little bit farther just to make sure it's in play, then do that.
Right.
Right. But yeah, that was actually a nice play by the Bengals. All right. Well, anything else from the game that you wanted to get in before we bring in your new teammate, who I know you've gotten pretty close to, in Austin Reed?
Yeah, well, nothing really else with the game. I mean, it was exciting. It was good to be back in Soldier. It was a good time. Good time to be out there with the fellas. We're excited. We obviously got one more here in Kansas City on Thursday coming up here, but excited about the game in Soldier the other day and excited to get back there for the regular season. But Austin, he's been kind of like the darling of Hard Knocks here. So I think everyone's going to enjoy this one. Just bear with the first couple minutes here of us talking about our TV show stuff, but we get into the football stuff pretty quickly and some of the stuff that he did in college and then going on into the NFL now and what his thoughts are on that. So good interview with Austin here, and it was a lot of fun to do it. All right, Coach, welcome on. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate this, my man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. Excited.
Yeah, I know we were talking about it the past couple of days, so I wanted to get you on. It seems like now you're like the darling of Hard Knocks right now, based on what's been shown for the past couple of weeks.
No, I don't know about all that, man. I think it's definitely a couple other people. You know, you got Jo and Simone Biles and all that stuff. I don't know if it's old Austin Reed, man, but
yeah, but you're like I don't know, like, you know how they follow like all the, I mean, just calling your situation what it is, like the undrafted guys throughout camp.
Yeah.
I mean, they've kind of highlighted you, and they've definitely been fond of us in the stretch lines. That's for sure. Yeah,
they definitely have gotten their content that they want, you know, from our little powwows in those stretches when I turn around, probably unwillingly against what you're trying to accomplish in that stretch. But yeah, we get after it a little bit.
Yeah, well, it definitely takes away from the stretch a little bit, but the glue mentality that we got going on there, I think, is pretty nice.
Listen, we're just trying to like build team camaraderie. Glue guys are always just looking for a chance to reach out and connect with teammates, man. So that's all I'm trying to do.
Flus was like, "What is with you and Austin always doing that during the stretch lines?" I'm like, "Flus, man, we're just trying to have a good time before practice. We're just getting ready to roll here."
Coacher, he always talks about, you know, B1, and that's what we're trying to do as Bears. And I'm just trying to be one. You know, I'm just trying to connect with my teammates. Only, you know, just got here a couple months ago. I'm just trying to get to know my guys, man.
So, I mean, full transparency here. I don't think I've watched an episode of Love Island since we talked about it that day. And I know it aired, so everyone's like, "Oh, what do you think of the rest of the season?" I haven't watched the rest of it. Have you seen any more of it?
Dude, what are you doing? Yeah, I watched a good amount of it, and then when we came back for camp, I didn't watch the rest of it. And I got like clued in from my fiance on like, hey, here's what is going on, here's who won, here's who like is going far, here's who broke up, all that kind of jazz. But I haven't had a chance to watch it, man. But I'm up to date on how the season went for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, then I need to probably catch back up here. I've been watching some other shows like I started Presumed Innocent. I don't know if you've heard that one on Apple TV.
Yeah, you were talking about it with Big Dog on the plane.
Yeah, so Big Dog finished it. Jim Dre was watching it. He was the one that recommended it. But yeah, like I said, Big Dog watched it, and then I cranked that thing out in a couple of days. Caleb was talking about, I don't know if Caleb ever finished it. I think he's got like he did finish it. One episode left. He had one episode left the other day, and he finished it. And then, and Brett was also watching it. But that was kind of like my camp show for a little bit there, and highly recommend that one. That was a good one for sure.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about another one that Caleb and I were talking about was Severance. Have you had a chance to watch
that? I haven't seen that one. No.
Yeah.
What is that on?
It's on Apple TV.
It is. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
is that the sci-fi one? It's like a little more like futuristic or whatever.
It's like about these people that like go into work, and every day before they go into work, they wipe their memory, and then they work, and then they wipe it at the end of the day. So they don't know what they're doing at work. And,
oh, wow.
And so then they like, one of the guys is like, I got to figure out why they're doing this. And
is it just like a single season, or is it multiple seasons of it?
I think season 2 either just came out or is coming out.
Oh, so it's not just like Presumed Innocent's like one season.
It's just like a mini series.
Yeah, like I like those because it's almost like a long movie that's split up between like 6 or 7 or 8 episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are fun to watch. I think those are good. Just the miniseries, because you're able to it's like a movie, and then there's a clear start and a clear end. I hate when there's like always cliffhangers at the end of each season.
I know, now you don't have to wait like another couple months for another like season, and now you're like, just all right, I get to know like how it ended and how it went. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go over. You got a give me top 3 camp shows to watch all time.
Gosh, of all time.
Yeah, like we're in camp. Long day, you get out at what? You're there from 7 to 7:30. You know, you obviously just want to veg out on the couch.
Yeah.
Give me a top 3 television series to watch during camp.
Okay, so one that I got into really heavily when I was at Western Kentucky was Snowfall. I haven't seen that one either. I got into Snowfall. It's on FX. I think you can watch it on Hulu. But I got into Snowfall really heavily. Like, you know, like the story, like Franklin saying, like how he kind of like starts selling certain things. But that was a really good one I watched. Trying to think of like another one that I got big on Ted Lasso one year. That was
Ted Lasso's a great pick me up.
That was a huge 7:30 at night. I'm burnt out. I'm not trying to do this. And Ted Lasso hits you with a quote that makes you want to go to camp the next day.
he was motivational for sure. He was motivational for sure.
That was huge for sure. Third one. I watched Chernobyl. Have you watched Chernobyl?
Oh, yeah. Chernobyl's sweet on HBO?
Yes.
Yeah, Chernobyl's sick.
That was unreal.
That's really well made. Really well made. Did you ever get into Game of Thrones?
Dude, so Peyton's like the biggest Game of Thrones has watched like Game of Thrones, like watched like House of Dragon, all that good stuff. I've never watched it.
Oh yeah, you got to check it out. House of Dragon, I was a little upset with how the season 2 ended, but the rest of the stuff is good. Like the true Game of Thrones series is the best television series I think of all time. It's
really
unbelievable.
Is that number one for you, dude?
I think in total series, yeah, it has to be number one.
Really?
The last season kind of disappointed me a little bit. Like I didn't love how they ended it. Partially it was because the dude George Martin, the guy that wrote the books, he never finished the series yet. He hadn't finished the series at the time, so they were kind of just going off script with the writing, and you could tell it wasn't where it should have been.
Oh, and they just made up their own crap.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous, and like Daenerys, you got to watch. I don't want to give it all away to you, but like a lot of the character development just like went to shit in the last season, and just like really pissed me off. But it was still cool. A lot of cool action scenes, like all the dragons and stuff and all that. I'm a nerd for, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
I do think though. So that would be probably number one for me. Number two, True Detective. Season 1, only season 1. Were we talking about that one already? Have you seen that one?
Is that the one where old boy is in Louisiana?
Yeah, McConaughey. Yeah. So it's McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are the two main guys in it. Holy cow. That first single season is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Really?
So that would probably be my 2. And then 3, like for just pick me up. Like you have to have something a little lighthearted. I have to go with The Office. That's like, I can turn on any episode of The Office when Michael Scott is still in it and thoroughly enjoy that show.
I'm going to get a lot of hate. I'm not a big Office guy, bro.
What?
I just can't get into it, man. Like I can't get like into it. I'm like, oh, this is all right. Like,
so what like sitcoms do you like? What? I guess like Ted Lasso was the one that you said, but you got to have others.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much I get into shows.
Like Friends or like How I Met Your Mother, you never watched?
Yeah, I think my one like guilty pleasure show along those lines is One Tree Hill. You ever seen One Tree Hill, man?
Dude, you are crazy. You are crazy.
Bro, it's bad, man. But I watched like all 9 seasons of One Tree Hill, man.
Well, you were just saying you started Friday Night Lights again. I don't think I've seen Friday Night Lights twice, the show, over before. How many times have you rewatched that?
Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Bro, I'm probably on like time 3 or 4.
Get out of town.
Bro, it's so good, though, bro.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Man. I know you were a big Tim Riggins guy growing up playing tight end and all.
I mean, yeah, everyone likes Tim Riggins. Yeah. I mean, I like the show for sure. It's definitely, it's definitely a little girly, I would say, but it's more of like a love story type deal than it is more about the football.
No, dude, Coach Taylor's out there coaching a ball. You're tripping.
Oh my God. Coach Taylor.
Dude turned around 2 programs in the span of 5 years, man.
That's crazy.
That's a ball coach.
The shows definitely help bypass camp a little bit, I think, at night at least, and take your mind off football. So it's a long training camp. How do you feel like your first NFL training camp has gone so far with everything considered, reporting early and all that stuff? How has it felt?
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. It's been long, bro.
Yeah.
I think you and I were talking about it. Like you said, this was the longest you've like done a camp in your 5 years. Like this is like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was at breakfast with Bates the other day, and Bates' head, like he was feeling it, rookie year, like, getting a little beat up here and there at times, day in and day out. He's like, his head was down. He's like, man, this is a lot. I go, Bates, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, this is a lot for me too. Like, this is a long camp. Like, and I haven't felt like the practices, going back past couple years with Flus, like we had some really freaking hard practices in the 2 years prior. And I don't think we've really had many of those this camp. And I think that's intentional just because of how long the camp has been.
Yeah.
But man, just the mental grind day to day from July, you guys reported what, July 16th till whatever it is now is pretty crazy.
I think that's the biggest thing really is the mental grind everything's been, man. Cause it's like you said, like I flew into Chicago the 15th of July. We started the 16th. Everybody reported, what was it, the 19th?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just been that, because like if you think about it, we've really done camp for a month straight. And for obviously the people that don't know at home, like we show up in the morning, practice in the morning, and then from like legitimately 1:30 until 5 o'clock, we're in meetings and we're like film, playbook, installs, this and that. And that is 3.5 hours of just like a mental grind.
And then you get a little break, and then you have to go out to an hour walkthrough.
And it's the night
maintain it all for the walkthrough.
And so every day for the last month has literally been 7 to 7 o'clock in ball.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like a great job. Like, what a blessing to your job.
Yeah, I know. I know it sounds like I'm complaining and maybe you're complaining a little bit, but like, I mean, we were talking about this too the other day. Like, it is such an honor to be able to do this. And like, we are so grateful to be able to do this. And like the fact that we can go in the facility every day and just like shoot the shit with each other, like go play football and, do what we have to do. Obviously there's a lot of pressure to it, but man, are we lucky to, to be able to do this.
Dude, it really is unreal. And it's like something that's like an unbelievable opportunity. Like our job is football. And I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. And now it's obviously like the NFL and it's stuff that's like, amplified to 1,000, but still at the end of the day, that being your job it's crazy. And it's something we're definitely lucky to do, bro. But
dude, it is a lot of fun. Have you felt like, coming in from college to now, like the difference in the playbook, how has that been?
Yeah, dude, it's been crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, like at Western, we were so air raid, bro. And like, it was like, let's line up 4 wide and like, let's go ace 95. And that was like a play call. And then now you got play.
That was it. It was just 4 wide ace, whatever.
Ace 95. Ace
That's
95.
all you said.
That was God's play at Western Kentucky. And, bro, that was it. If you know any air raid guy, ace 95 or ace 65, they'll know what I'm talking about. And to go from that to now like formational names, that the formation itself is like 4 words, and then the play call is like 6 words. And it definitely was an adjustment and something I knew I was going to have to adjust to when I got to the league. But yeah, man, like Shane and Carey have done such a good job with like the teaching aspect of this offense. And like those guys are such good teachers of this offense and what we're trying to do. And obviously grinding through like OTAs and then like that month off. And then when I got back here in training camp and like really like diving into what like it took to be an NFL quarterback. And, Rip has been a huge help also in that aspect, because Rip is just like a veteran who like knows how to do this and like was a UDFA and knew how to like hang around. And so a lot of things I've taken from like them, all of them, and just like how to like operate like a pro and how like what requires at this level is it was definitely overwhelming at first, but now I feel like I kind of got like a hang of it a little bit. And it's cool now when you're in this offense and like you really see like how much you're capable of doing though when you open up every aspect of what like we can possibly do compared to like maybe what I was doing in college and how you're kind of limited in what you can do with that.
Yeah, like I felt like, I don't know, for me in college, like I didn't pay much attention to the defense that was in front of me. Like you just kind of run the route that was called for the play. Yeah. And like obviously in the NFL, there's so many route variations within a play based on the coverage. And then for you guys, like knowing if there's a run, we have a run play and then you got to check it to a pass play, knowing the structure of the defense that you got to check it into is all the crazy stuff. Was that something new for you coming in from college? Like, did you have to know all that in your offense, like defensively and all that stuff? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I think there was times where you could like check plays. But normally you were just checking something. You're like, hey, I got like a 4-1 box. I know we can run inside zone really well to this box. We'll combo up to that single like Mike backer. So, hey, let's just check it real quick. I think that was like what I would do to the extent of college. But like here, it's like, okay, what personnel are they in? If they're in base or sub, like that's a big difference on what play calls we can even call. Like we can't call certain plays against base, can't call certain plays against like sub. So now if we're in base or sub, now like if I have an alerted run play to an alerted run play, what's the thing I'm looking for? Like am I looking for a third level defender that's unblockable? Am I looking for some sort of like box issue or like rotation to the run? You know, like, and that's all generic stuff that's like across every offense. So it's like I don't mind like sharing that, but it's like those things are like things that you had to like. All right, like the nickels number 24, the safeties are 30, like in 32. Yeah. That's a big deal because you have to know like who could possibly be where, and so like, yeah, I mean, I think this offense requires you to have to look at everything that's going on, but like once you kind of get that idea of like what's going on, it also makes the picture clearer because you're like not just reactionary. Like that's something that Brett and I talk about all the time is like go up to the line like every play with a plan, like a preset. And like, okay, hey, I'm hunting for man. Did I get man? No, I didn't get man. Okay, now am I getting like one high FUP rotation or am I getting like a 2 high kind of structure? I could get Tampa or I could get some sort of quarters. Boom, I'm getting 2 high. Here's where I need to go.
Right.
And instead of just dropping back and now you're like, oh, where's the open guy? Let me react. Like you actually have a plan with everything.
Sure.
It's definitely been like a new way to look at it and something that's like I enjoy doing. And again, like I think our offense is awesome to play with. Obviously it's from that, LA McVay tree. And I think it's a fun offense to play quarterback in and a fun offense to play really any position in.
Yeah. Well, you got to be super, it's the run game just so detailed. But it's wild. Like if you're off by a point, like it screws up the whole deal. So, there's just a lot of detail and nuance that, I mean, for me that I wasn't used to coming from college to the NFL, just how much you have to know, like you're talking like body types and, guys we're going against. And my first year, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm sure you did, but they used to like your numbers were coincided with your position. So like, a linebacker couldn't wear number 5 or 4 in the NFL my first year, but then they were able to switch it. So it kind of confused everything. And that first year after that, it was kind of tough because you had some linebackers that were wearing like 20 something and you had to know going into the game, like when you're scouting this team, like, oh, number 23 is a linebacker. Like we're counting him as a linebacker. He's not a safety. So like, and those are all things that affect the run game. You know what I mean? So, those are just all things you have to be cued into. Also, did you huddle up in college as well? Or did you guys go all singles from the sideline?
Everything was no huddle. Everything was signals. So like, I'm not going to say what play it was, but like a typical play from like Western Kentucky would be like, hey, here we go. Like ace, 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 ace. And then that was a play. I'm telling all the receivers that was it.
That's it.
Then obviously then I would walk up to the offensive line, tell them what we had protection wise. And then,
So was it a little intimidating coming in and having to do a huddle for your first time?
Yeah, I had a little taste of it when I went to the Shrine Bowl, and I kind of like a little taste of that. But in the least cocky way I can say this, I think you like know how I am. Like like I'm a very personable dude. Like I can really like walk up and like just take control like pretty easily. So I kind of enjoyed like going into a huddle and like looking guys in the eyes and like, hey, here's what we got. Hey, we're this on this snap count. Let's go, and then like. Kind of just like, and then it's like, now there's definitely not going to be any communication lapse because, hey, I sat here and I looked you all in the eyes. I told you to play. And like, then obviously you can do more now. So I think, I didn't really mind it. I actually kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's actually cool. I think the whole room has that type of personality. I think, obviously you and Caleb are new to the huddle stuff and doing all those things. And you guys have grown with that since OTAs, but like Tyson didn't do any of this until he got here, last year. And, he's pretty flawless at it at this point. And obviously Brett has been in the league for quite a bit. So he does a good job with all that. That was a big
thing like Tyson and I talked about when I first got here, because, when I first got here, I saw like Tyson had so much command in the huddle. And I told him, I was like, hey, like, what are you thinking? Like when you go up there and call a play, like how, like what tempo are you talking to these guys? Like, how are you almost even using your hands sometimes to kind of help these guys out with like what you're doing? And he was a big help to me at first with that too, as was Brett. But that just kind of speaks to our QB room as a whole, as like just a bunch of really good dudes and guys who operate really well as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, for me, I think this is the best, from 1 to 4, quarterback room I've been a part of since I've been in the league. I think you guys have been awesome. I think we've been operating really well in camp and in the preseason games. I mean, I know they're preseason games, but we're kind of like blowing these teams. I know the first game got cut short by the rain, by the pissed rain that we were talking about.
Lucky us, huh?
I know, right? But no, it feels like we were talking about our depth, but at all the positions, but even at quarterback, like we got all you guys can operate the offense really well, and it's been cool to see us put up points, no matter who's been in.
Yeah, it's just like you watch how Caleb operated against Buffalo, which was really impressive considering it was his first action. Mm-hmm. Obviously, how Brett operated against Houston, like how impressive that was. Yeah. And then what we just saw from Tyson this last game against Cincinnati. And then I feel like we did a really good job when we got in there in the fourth quarter against Buffalo. And so, yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a testament kind of just how hard like the guys work and how dialed they are. And yeah, but I mean, I think it's been really impressive. And obviously it's like a great learning experience for me watching Tyson and Brett and Caleb and to operate, and then I get to watch that and say, okay, what can I take from that when I get out there? And so, yeah, it's definitely a very healthy and good QB room we have.
Do you have anything that, since you've, been in the league now for all of a couple months, that has surprised you, maybe your thoughts before coming in that has surprised you about what it really is and how it all operates?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I learned was how much like just you got to control what you can control. Mm-hmm. I talking to veterans especially, and you and I have talked about this a bunch of times, like the only thing that you can do every single day is you can show up and you can handle your business the way you can, operate the reps that you get. If you get 2 reps, you get 20 reps. You got to operate those reps the way that you can. And then eventually everything will play itself out because like you and I talked about, like this league's so unpredictable. And like you walk in one day and somebody's there and the next day they're not. And you think, oh, this is going to happen this way. And it doesn't happen that way. And so I think that's kind of been the biggest thing is like, dude, like with this league, like just go out there and handle what you can handle and don't think about anything else. Don't think, am I like doing what I need to do for these, like for what like they're asking me to do? Am I like, are they happy with what I'm doing? Are they this or that? Like, how does this compare to what this guy's doing? And like, none of that like matters. It's really like taught me like to like handle what you can handle. And like, everything else is like everything else. Like if you control what you can control, at the end of the day, it'll work out. It might not work out the way you thought it was going to work out, but like it'll work out in the end. So mainly that, to be honest, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, funny enough, we have Ace 95 drawn up on here. Do you see it?
Let's go, dude.
Dude, talk me through the play. Let's talk through this thing. I don't know how we got this, but we have it. So let's talk through the play here.
God's play. All right, let's start off with this, right? First thing you're missing, you're missing way too many dotted lines, all right? The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers had way more hot checks on this play for receivers. So first off, that XMOR, mandatory outside release go ball, get out of there. We get some sort of one high, like man, you can take that go ball. You get Tampa and you like, or not Tampa, you get like 2 and you really think like, hey, I can fit this whole shot. You can, but that's not really going to happen most of the time. Then you got H right here. Gosh, SXHYZ. Oh my gosh.
Is the H the halfback?
The H is a receiver, bro.
Get out of here.
This is 10 personnel. Like, let's go play ball. Dude, brother, you would have been sitting there over on the pine just watching these boys get after it. If
I would have been. Oh my! This you guys 10 work me in somewhere. I mean, come on.
This is 10 personnel. Tight ends, go take a break for a play. We're about to play some ball. You got the 10-yard out. You got your Y cross. It can sit down versus like a Tampa 2. It can split safeties in the true 2 structure. And then you got your post curl that can turn into a post dig versus man. Oh, coach.
So that was the go-to play for you.
Coach, I got called 9-10 times a game at Western Kentucky.
How many touchdowns do you think you scored on that thing?
Oh, coach. Oh man, that
a lot.
Yeah, dude.
Do you know how many passing yards you had throughout college?
Between West Florida and Western Kentucky, I had a good amount. Yeah, I had a pretty good amount.
You were throwing that thing. You were
Yeah,
throwing the pill.
at Western, we were definitely like just throwing that thing like 40, 50 pass attempts a game. Like, let's go play ball.
And obviously defenses knew you guys were throwing it.
Bro, 3-2 box, 3 double cloud, drop 8 every game, bro.
And you're like, fuck it, we're still throwing it.
We still were throwing it, bro. You could have played us in the most exotic like 3-2-5 defensive structure, like drop everybody out of there, and the tops were still gonna throw the ball.
That's hysterical. I mean, the receivers must have loved it.
Receivers and quarterbacks loved it. We had our fair share of running backs transfer out after a year or two.
I mean, I can't blame them.
They wanted to go get some more touches, but yeah, I mean, I think there's good and bad to it. I mean, I think when we talk about our offense at Chicago and we talk about what I think such the advantage of like our run game is, I think that may have been lost at times.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that when we talk about complementary football and we talk about like the run game setting up the pass game, I think we lacked in that. And that was something that made it hard not only on our defense, but made it hard then like also like on like every phase of the game. And now like, hey, you go 3 and out really quick. Now we're punting from our own 25 and defense is back out there after literally a minute and 15. And so,
I mean, and part of that too, though, in college is the personnel you got. Like, I mean, I didn't watch any of you guys, but, like if you're struggling at O-line, you know, and you guys, you know, they're not heavy run blockers, like you're going to have to get in the gun and get rid of that rock pretty quickly.
Coach, there was no Joe Waltz or Quentin Nelsons walking around Western. We had O linemen that did a great job and were back there holding up in the pass game. But yeah, we knew what we had at Western and we made it work, man.
So so just your journey to now, you started where did you start again?
Dude, so I have like the weirdest just journey. So I went to it for a year to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
I went there for a year, was there for a year, extremely homesick, wasn't liking it. So I transferred back home to Florida. I went to Division II school called the University of West Florida. Was there for 3 years total. Only played in 2. We played in 2019. 2020, we did literally nothing because of COVID. And then in 2021, and then in the spring of 2022, entered the transfer portal. That's when I transferred to Western Kentucky and played 2 years at Western Kentucky.
So you were how many years total then in college?
I was 6 total, but I had a red shirt year and then like a true like COVID year we literally didn't play. So
that's right. Yeah.
Like we literally didn't play even a single game during COVID when I was at West Florida. So like it was almost like if I had like a red shirt and a medical red shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that COVID year definitely was definitely an interesting year and, you know, didn't help a lot of guys. And
that was your what? That was your first year in the league?
Yeah, man. Crazy enough, I was thinking about staying. So I finished my 3rd year at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stay to play baseball that spring with my brother who was coming in to be a freshman. So I was like, you know, I want to stay. I want to do this thing. And then I wanted to see like where I would fit, like where my future could have been baseball wise too. Like there was an avenue for that. So like I wanted to maybe explore that as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I would be like a high draft pick going into that season, like where I'd be eligible to come out and be drafted high. But I had some people tell me that like I could have a chance if I had a good year. And I was like, oh, all right. I mean, you know, not realizing like, you know, my body type's like prime for NFL and all that. So
yeah.
Anyway, go through the season. I have a good year. I have a really good year. I missed the first 2 games. Or no, I'm sorry. I missed the first 2 games this season because I broke my collarbone 3rd day of training camp. So like, I'm totally not thinking, you know, NFL at this point.
Yeah.
And then we played Georgia on a Saturday night game. I don't know if you watched that game. But it was a CBS night game, Georgia Notre Dame.
At Georgia.
In Athens.
Yes, I know exactly the game you're talking about.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Caleb actually too a couple of weeks ago. Cause I was at that game. I was like, I got to go to Georgia after this game. But anyway, so we play that game, and I balled out. I did really well. I had like over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, and definitely like showed out on a good stage against a really good team. And then all that like NFL stuff started to pick back up again and finished out the year. I did really well. And then I got my grade for the draft, and it was I got a 2 back, and I had a couple first round grades, and then a lot of second round grades, and then a few like third, fourth round grades. But like the grade they spit out to me was a second round pick. So I go up to talk to Brian Kelly and a few other coaches, and they were like, Brian's like, yeah, I think we can get this to a 1 here. We can get this to a 1 if you come back for another season. You go play baseball. We'll let you just play baseball in the spring. You don't have to come to spring practice. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. No spring practice for me. So like, I'm like, okay, I want to come back, because all my best friends were still coming back for another season, all the guys that I came in with, and, we'd become really close. So, and look, we were going for national championship. We definitely wanted that. And that was something that I aspired for when I decided to go to Notre Dame. So, definitely wanted to do that. And then once we got in the weeds with it, and, I had conversations with my dad and a few other people, I realized, it was like, do you want to go to the NFL? And it was, no, I want to play in the NFL. And it was like, this is your chance to go do it. Like, you like taking a risk for what? And like, you put in perspective, like, especially at tight end, like, depending on the year, you could be, and I was the number 1 tight end coming out in my draft. But even if I played a really great season, like just positional value alone, like you may not really increase your draft stock that much.
Right.
So I ended up going out, and then we do the combine and all that stuff, and COVID hits, get drafted. And then I go through through COVID year where we're getting tested every day in empty stadiums. It was a crazy first year for sure. Yeah. Crazy first year. But no, definitely happy that I made the decision to come out when I did. And, obviously it all worked out where I was able to get drafted here. And, now they decided to keep me around last year, which has been nice. So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Coach, that don't hurt, does it?
No, it don't. But no, I've seen a lot of change here in the going on 5 years I've been here.
Because this is what, QB number 3 for you, right? With Caleb?
Well, no, this is QB like 10.
I mean, like starter.
Yeah, I played with 10 different starters. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh Lord is right. Yeah. 10, I played with, I think it's 10 different starters. Someone could probably fact check me on that, but I think it's 10 different starters I've played with.
Could you name them all?
Okay, let's see. Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, obviously now Caleb. And then other quarterbacks I've played with would be like Tyler Bray, Nate Peterman, Trevor Siemian, Tyson Bagent.
Big Tyson.
God, I gotta be forgetting one more.
Because old Petey started a game, right?
He started a game. Oh, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He's with Houston right now. He was with the Jets last year. Come on, we were talking about him on the sideline.
Not Boyle.
Boyle, yes, Boyle.
No.
I've caught a pass from Boyle. Yes, I've caught an NFL pass from Boyle. Yeah.
This league, man.
Yeah, crazy. So those are the 10 guys I've played with. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But it's cool to see like where the team is now and where it's trending, and it looks like it could be a good deal here. I mean you've been seeing it firsthand now. I know you haven't. I mean, I guess you got to see a couple teams now and Cincinnati come to practice, but like even thoughts, like give me your thoughts on our defense. Our defense is crazy.
I think I was telling you about this the other day when I first got there and we were doing like OTAs and then we eventually got to mini camp. I just thought that our defense was what NFL defenses look like. This is what it looks like at this level, and this is what these guys do. And then I was talking to someone on another team who I won't name, and I was like, hey, and they had seen our defense, and I was like, yeah, our defense is impressive. He was like, no, that's like an elite defense in this league. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? They're that good? He was like awesome. They're elite. That's like an elite defense in this league. And the more I watch them, then obviously the more I understand ball and understand this game. what those guys do is freaky. And like at every position, it's like super talented. And as a quarterback, like I even like appreciate watching our defense play, because it's just like fast and they hit and everyone on the field tackles and no one's afraid of contact, and the way they run after the ball and swarm the ball. But I think that's kind of like, I think that's just how Flus coaches, and that's like what Flus demands of guys. And it's like evident in the way our defense plays.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with like Flus, with all the running after the, running to the ball and all that stuff. When he first came, it was a little weird for everybody, because you're doing these things even offensively, like you run the play, but then you got to finish to the ball. Like there's that mentality of finish. Yeah. And you can see like where that really plays in on this defense, and especially the Tampa 2, swarming into the ball once it's caught underneath, punching at the football, creating turnovers. How he talks about all that stuff, and you got a bunch of guys that I think have really bought into it. But you look like up front with Montez obviously leading the way at defensive end, and then the linebackers we got. I mean, I know you don't take hits often. Like you don't have to go fill in a hole on like 15 split or anything like that. But TJ Edwards,
I knew it's where you were going.
He can hit you. He hit me last camp, and I literally felt the hit through my spine. And I was like, holy shit, that was a big hit. He's like, that was a big hit. That was crazy, man. He can lay the wood. And then obviously in the back end, you got all those dudes like, Kyler, Brisker, KB that just got added, Tyreek. And then, what I think of Jalen. I think Jalen's an absolute stud.
Dude, watching that dude every day, I don't think people understand. Like,
he's so good.
Not one of the first, and the top 100 thing absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah, you just gotta take all that for a grain of salt. I love how he takes it so personally, because it drives him. But
that's what you want a DB to think. 100%. But that dude, bro, like from two guys who watch him every day, like bro, like like
he's a dog. He's a dog. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Well, I got a couple more things for you before I let you go. I know.
Let's do it, man. Just
kind of going back to, so you finish up college and you started training, and I know you trained with Will. We were talking about this the other day. So how did you get into that? What has that been like, kind of working with all those guys in Florida? If you can kind of run down like who you work out with in the off season and how that's worked for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I got in contact with Will when he moved up to like North Florida, and he was working with a guy that I had worked with forever named Denny Thompson. And I was working with him. And as I got like closer, like draft prep, I started working more with like Will. And then eventually I did my draft prep with Will. And I mean, this dude's legit. Obviously, like the names that come through Northeast Florida now to train quarterbacks is crazy. Like you got Caleb, obviously. And that's where Caleb and I met, was down there in Jacksonville back in like January. And then you got, Brock Purdy, Anthony Richardson, Nate Peterman, Sam Ellinger, Mason Rudolph, Mac Jones.
Bunch of guys to learn from.
Kyle Trask. Like I can so many guys that come through there nowadays. And there's guys who have come through for only a week that, I don't know if I consider them like a regular, so I'm not going to drop their name, but like the amount of guys that him, Will, and now this guy, and also the guy he works with, Tom Gormley, who those two guys, like what they do down there is elite, and like what they're building down there, and like the excellence that they're like kind of like developing down there at the quarterback position is crazy. And it's like, it's lucky for me because, I grew up in St. Augustine, which is 15 minutes from Jacksonville. And so I have it like right in my backyard, and I enjoy like that part of the country anyways. And so it's nice to have that for like an off-season spot.
Yeah. I met Will at Ian Book's wedding just this past summer, I was telling you, and I didn't know much about it. And then he started like, I was like, oh wait, no, because I know Nate well, obviously too. And then I knew he worked with Caleb, and then my brother, who plays quarterback in high school, he went down to do like a little thing with Will for a couple days. So I mean, obviously he's got something cool going on down there, and
because cool. Ian was his first draft prep.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, the first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think the first time they ever did draft prep was with Ian, because Ian was before Brock, right? Yeah.
Had to be.
So Ian was the first guy that they ever draft prepped, and so
that's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense that he was at his wedding.
I didn't know that. Well, I appreciate you coming on, my man. This has been great. You're always even. I'm glad that I'm glad that we've grown a friendship here over camp. This is kind of the fun stuff that we get to do, and I think it's cool to like. We had DJ on last week, so like obviously DJ's like the superstar. I'm not saying you're not a superstar, but DJ's like the legacy. You know what I mean? It's just cool. I think it's cool for people to talk, like hear from you, like because 90% of the league is you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 90% of the league is
glue guys. Come on, man.
Glue guys grinding away, trying to make a team, you know, doing their thing, coming in and day out, like just loving the process, all those things. But this is most of the league here. And I think it's cool for people to hear from you. I know everyone's kind of fallen in love with you from the Hard Knock stuff, which has been really cool to see. And I know you were bummed the other day not being able to get in, but I have a feeling you're gonna have a lot of good opportunity this upcoming week in Kansas City.
Yeah, man. I like you and I talk about, man. At the end of the day, it's a process, and you take what you can and you grind, and whenever that opportunity comes, you're ready to go. But at the end of the day, things work out the way they're supposed to, brother. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Well, let's continue to not take each day for granted and enjoy these days, and even though they're long and grueling, but let's have fun with it, and we'll see where it takes us.
No doubt, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, my guy.
Great stuff there with Austin Reed. We're going to have to talk about some of those TV choices, though, I think, here in a minute. Of course, the 85 of Cole Kmet is brought to you by Ankin Law. Howard Ankin is a third-generation lawyer in Chicago and has built one of the largest injury law firms in the state. Howard Ankin is a member of the Illinois State Bar Association, Illinois Trial Lawyers Association, the American Association for Justice in Washington, D.C., and president of the UIC Law Alumni Association. Ankin Law has over 90 attorneys and staff and is based in Chicago with offices, of course, in the city, in Rosemont, Schaumburg, and Orland Park. The leading filer of workers' compensation and personal injury cases in Illinois. Ankin Law practices auto, truck, rideshare accidents, slip and fall, premises liability, workers' comp, medical malpractice, Social Security disability, and wrongful death cases. When it comes to Ankin's commercials, the Ankin Law brand has been aligned with Chicago sports for over a decade. They especially like to associate with Chicago athletes long associated with Chicago or from Chicagoland, such as Io DeSumo, Nikki Lopez, Chris Chelios, and now Cole Kmet as well. With an intake department of 16 people, including 2 attorneys, Ankin Law takes the time to listen to the people who contact us. Even if we don't sign the case, we try to steer the people who contact us in the right direction to get the help they need. After all, Ankin Law is injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more. And the 85 also brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Tight money line splits, their low hold model, games that strive to be a -110 split on the Circa Sports menu. Unlike other sports books, which may use -115 or -120 splits, Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books. They are completely transparent too. They encourage you to download and explore all sports betting apps that are available. Compare the lines from each sportsbook. You can do that yourself, and you'll find Circa is the best. Plus, all aspects of their app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort Casino in Las Vegas. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates, and they are with us for all Cubs Friday 120 clubs. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com. All right. Really enjoyed that long conversation with Austin Reed, Cole. You guys really went deep into your TV choices. And
to start there. Yeah. Well, that's what, when we're going home from camp, that's what mostly consists of, is what TV show are you watching to get your mind off football for the few hours before you got to wake up the next morning. So yeah, that was a good deal there.
Well, I'm definitely going to defend him on Friday Night Lights. It's an excellent TV show. I think I've been through it twice, the whole series. And this might surprise some people, but I might be the only one, but I'm going to back him up on One Tree Hill.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I get the Friday Night Lights thing. One Tree Hill is crazy. That's for sure crazy.
Yeah. See, I think I was in high school though when that show came out, so that's probably why it was. I can't remember.
Hits home for you there?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, of course, their high school life is completely not real high school life.
No,
like, they're all
not
like
at all.
having kids, and it also they were all like 30-year-old actors at the time too. No, but and I don't know what this whole Love Island thing is. I don't think I want to know, but that was one of the funnier moments of Hard Knocks last week.
Yeah, that show will just kill your brain cells. And I'm not. And look, if you're in the mood for your brain cells getting killed, go for it. But yeah, it's a cringe show. And like I said in Hard Knocks, it's like watching a car wreck. But it's sometimes good to take your mind off other things.
So, and then I should probably credit. We found that Ace 95 play basically while you guys were talking. I just Googled it and found it on like some Mike Leach website.
That's awesome.
And that was really cool hearing you guys talk about that. But yeah, he was like, no. Our play was way more advanced. We got all these option routes.
He was geeked out about it for sure. That was cool for him to kind of get in depth to talk about what he was doing back in college. So that was really cool.
100%. Hey, as we move the conversation kind of towards what's coming up this week, we welcome in Circa Sports as our keys to the game segment here. Now, because we're still in the preseason and I don't know, we're talking about keys to the game. We're going to kind of call this keys to the week this week, presented by Circa Sports. But just as you go into the short week, Cole, couple quick practices, go to Kansas City. Like what are you guys trying to, what's the key to this week for you guys to have a successful week?
Yeah, well, I think we got to find out what we'll be doing this week exactly in terms of the game. So I'm sure we'll meet with Flus here tomorrow when we get back in to see what the playing time might look like for this week ahead. But regardless, with the two practices that we had before the game, it's still important to kind of keep elevating our game. I like where we're at offensively speaking, and we got to continue to up that and continue to get better with our operation and all those things. And then defensively, these boys, they just got to keep going and hopefully we get 100% healthy there before week one here so that we get all those guys clicking together. But definitely like where we're at so far and kind of taking it day by day still. And we'll see where we're at come Thursday in terms of the playing time.
Do you feel like with what you've been able to accomplish in these last two games that, if the starters don't play, that you guys would be ready to go for week one?
I do. Yeah. I think we've been in camp long enough here and, we've gone through the game process twice now, which I think was needed. So I feel like we're in a good spot in that regard. And look, there's still things that we got to get better at with the time that we got before week one. And there's still a couple weeks here before that happens, but I don't think that's anything that we can't get done during the practice time. But that being said, Flus makes the decision that that he thinks we need another go at it here this coming Thursday, then obviously we're going to go ahead and do that. But like I said, I think I feel good about where we're at right now, and I think we can get what we need to get done during practice before that week one hits.
Well, selfishly, I think the rest of us just want to see Mahomes and Caleb kind of go back and forth with their high, because it was like, I don't know if Patrick saw what Caleb was doing yesterday, but then he goes out there and just, I'm going to throw it behind the back
pass. Yeah. Do you think that was scripted? That was crazy.
He said it wasn't. Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't. Did he talk about the play?
He said Travis ran the wrong route and he was mad at him that he wasn't running the right route. So like almost out of frustration, he like threw the ball behind his back, like out of spite. That's
hilarious. See, we always joke in the meeting room, like you run the wrong route, you always get the ball. Like it always happens. Like the one guy that runs the wrong route ends up getting the ball in his hands, and it's a big explosive play. It sometimes it just works like that at times, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that was crazy. My guess is that doesn't play out. I have no idea what the Chiefs are doing, but I think they're at a point where they don't need to play their starters for too much on Thursday night. But it is one last preseason game, and then I think you guys can probably start focusing on, your Titans scout, stuff
Absolutely.
like that in practice. Good stuff. Austin was really interesting. It was fun hearing you guys talk ball for as long as you did. And obviously this week will be big for him. I'm sure he'll get some planes on.
Yeah, I hope so. Obviously, I'm sure he was bummed out the other day with how things kind of panned out, not being able to get in. And then obviously that first game in Canton, getting cut short from the rain. So hopefully he gets a good amount of playing time here this upcoming week to show what he can do. And, like I said in the interview, what I mentioned is that's most of this league is guys like Austin, fighting to make roster spots and being new to the league, undrafted. Those are all the type of guys that make this league to what it is. And, obviously we see all the superstars and all the crazy talent, and that's what makes this thing go. But, those guys are the root of all of this. And it's always cool to highlight them and root them on. So definitely cool to have Austin on, and wishing him nothing but the best going forward here.
Yeah, and as this week plays out, of course, we'll have you covered on the CHGO Bears podcast every single day with episodes after practice, breaking everything down. And, of course, we'll have you covered for pre and post on Thursday night as well. Last week you asked me a question at the end of the show. I'm actually surprised I didn't get more shit than I did for it. When you asked
Johns was insulted by it that you didn't give him his that you didn't mention him as the guy that could draw up cover 2.
Okay, was he? Because he didn't say anything to me.
Oh, okay. So he went behind your back on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
See,
so he seemed a little salty about that one.
So that was exactly who I was afraid of, because when I answered that question, and then because you put me on the spot, and then later I was like, Johns can definitely draw that up too. And
yeah,
I should have mentioned him, and he's my teammate. So that was a bad moment for me.
Yeah, that's no good. All right, I do have one for you though this week, if you want to hear it. So since being on, I guess you guys call it the beat, or doing all this covering the Bears, how has that changed your fandom?
Oh yeah, I get asked that a lot, and it's a fair question because, believe it or not, like there was a time in my life where I was probably as wild and crazy of a fan as Greg Braggs Jr. currently is.
Really?
Yeah. Like where, do you remember? I'm not sure how old you would have been, but there was a game in Atlanta, like 2008, where the Bears, Kyle Orton hit Rasheed Davis in the back of the end zone to take the lead with like 11 seconds left.
Yeah. And
they didn't win because they didn't execute the squib kick, and then Falcons ended up in the walk-off field goal.
Yeah.
Like that was back when my wife and I were just like early stages of dating, like within the first year of us being together. And I'm surprised she stayed with me after that.
Really?
Because I was just like really angry in her Milwaukee apartment back then. But yeah, like now I'm in my 14th season covering the team, and you have to kind of like put that stuff aside to be objective. Right. And when you're watching these games, so it's just kind of something that I think like evolves over time, but it's definitely changed that, because you just, not only do you not get as emotional about it, but you really can't.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I know, like for me, like, since being in the NFL, it's changed my perspective on so many things about the NFL in general. Obviously the team, like I obviously grew up a Bears fan. But when you're in it, it changes a lot, your perspective on things and all that stuff. Not saying it's bad, but it definitely takes away the fandom of some sort. So, was interested to hear your side of that.
Well, it's a job now, right? Like,
it's a job. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, were you that same way growing up watching Bears games? Like, would you get?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was like, because I know I have buddies who are crazy Bears fans, and I was never like that, because I think just of my family background, like my dad who played and then my uncle who played. So like, it wasn't as crazy into it. Now I was a crazy Cubs fan. Like that's what I was into. Like I was a huge Cubs fan growing up. Like that was kind of like my big fandom, but it wasn't as much, but I was obviously a Bears fan growing up. So, and it's changed, as it becomes your job and your profession. And, there's things that you have to ignore and not listen to as much because, it's not really reasonable to be listening to that all the time. But Yeah, no, it does change some things, but I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, and same thing on my end. Like it's, it's always, this is what I always want to do as a job. So,
Yeah.
It's awesome to be able to just be around football every single day. And that's the plus side, even though there are some times where Braggs will actually get mad at me during games sometimes because he'll be like, I don't understand why you're not mad about this right now.
Yeah, you're
like,
just like, I can't be. I'm just being objective. Yeah.
I'm just in my notebook. I'm just trying to get through the, do the best we can for, covering whatever the outcome of the game ends up being. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, great stuff. Hope everybody's really enjoying these first couple episodes, and we're gonna keep them coming.
Yeah, we'll have more to come here, more interviews, more talks about the games, and obviously leading up to the regular season, this will be a lot of fun. So a lot of excitement going forward, and it was cool to see the reaction to episode 1, and hopefully that continues on going forward.
And again, the 85 is powered by Ankin Law. Injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit ankinlaw.com to learn more.